Welcome to Selenium training. In this topic, we'll discuss about Selenium RC. In the previous topic, we had seen how to download and configure Selenium RC in your Eclipse project. This was the small project in which I had downloaded and configured Selenium RC. Right? Now, we'll make a small file in this named as Google Test.java. In this file, I'll write some simple Selenium script which will open google.com website. But that script will be in Selenium RC, the older version of Selenium. Right? Now, to work with Selenium RC, first you need to understand the architecture of Selenium RC. For understanding the architecture of Selenium RC, go to the directory where you have downloaded the jar files of Selenium RC. These are the jar files of Selenium RC, right? Now you go inside the Java doc. Java doc is nothing but the documentation of Selenium RC. If you open index.html, this will show you all the classes present in Selenium RC on the left hand side. Right? One of the interfaces out here in this documentation is Selenium interface. This is the interface Selenium, and this interface Selenium has got many functions such as attach file. This will help you attach a file with Selenium. Then capture screenshot. This will help you capture a screenshot with Selenium. Then double click add, drag and drop. So you will have lot of functions in this interface. Okay, now when we use Selenium, we actually use the reference of this interface. Right? One of the classes out here is default Selenium. This class out here, default Selenium, is implementing the Selenium interface. That means it is implementing all the overridden methods in that interface. Right? What overriding is and how it works, you can actually learn it from module number 4, object oriented programming using inheritance and all everything. Right? In this module, I have taken perfect examples of overriding and overloading. Similarly, out here in the Selenium architecture, that is the Selenium RC architecture, default Selenium class is actually implementing the Selenium interface. That means it is actually implementing all the functions inside it. Right? Apart from this, there is one more class known as Selenium test case. This one. This class out here is having many functions and it's got a global field reference which is of the Selenium interface. Okay, so we can use Selenium. The crux which I want to tell you is that we can use Selenium either with Selenium test case class or with default Selenium class. So I will describe you how to use Selenium with Selenium test case as well as how to use Selenium RC with default Selenium. Let's see with default Selenium first. Okay, now I'll open my Eclipse. This is my RC project. In this project, I have included the 4 jar files. Apart from these 4 jar files, you also have to include the jar file present in this Selenium server, that is these 3 jar files. Out of which this jar file Selenium server.jar is very important. Okay, Selenium RC comes with a server. That server is in the Selenium server.jar file. In the hard disk, it's present at the downloaded location of your Selenium RC in the Selenium server folder. This one. This is the jar. You copy the path of this jar. Why do you have to copy it? You have to copy it because you have to start the server. You have to start the server by going to command prompt and giving the command to start the server. So you go to the place where the Selenium server.jar is lying, okay, on your command prompt, and give the command java-jar selenium server.jar. So this will start your Selenium server. Selenium server runs on port number 4444. This is the port number out here. Okay, now once the Selenium server is started and once you have all the Selenium jar files in your Eclipse project, you can start writing your Selenium script using the class default Selenium. Fine. So you can use this class default Selenium and create the object of this class by simply writing this line. You import this because these are present in the packages, right? Selenium is the interface which is being implemented by default Selenium, and in the constructor of default Selenium I am passing localhost, that is I am running the test in the local machine. Fine. 4444 is the port number on which Selenium is running. Start Firefox is the browser on which Selenium will run, and the site which I want to navigate to is google.com. Okay, this command is also present in my blog over here. Right now, after this, you need, suppose I just run this much, I just run this program by writing this single line. What will happen is that a browser, practically nothing happens. Okay, this is because I have to write selenium dot start after this. So now after writing selenium dot start, if I run this code, a browser should open. See that two browsers open up. One is the normal browser having this URL, and other is the log window. This is known as the Selenium log window. This has got the history of all the commands which you fire with Selenium. This browser is blank. It never navigated to the test website, that is google.com. Okay, now also one more thing, this whole code will not work on Mozilla 6 or the latest version of Mozilla. It will work only till Mozilla 3 dot something, or maybe on Mozilla 4 as well. I am using 3.5.16 because RC is the older version of Selenium. Okay, for running the code on the new version of Selenium, you need to use WebDriver, right? Sorry, for running the code on the new version of Firefox, you need to learn WebDriver. Okay, now after starting this, I will write selenium.open. This will take me to google.com. So this is basically a simple script in which I am using default Selenium and I am navigating to google.com. When I run this test, I get a very simple thing that in this browser, see, google.com gets opened, right? So I have successfully written a Selenium script which opens the google.com website using Selenium RC, right? Now I can make one more class over here, Google Test 2, and in this I will use the Selenium test case class which was there in the Selenium Java docs, that is over here. Over here in Selenium Java client driver, I have the index.html which is having Selenium test case class. Using this test class also, we can use Selenium to navigate to google.com. All you need to do is that your test class should be extending, should write extends Selenium test case, right? If I am extending Selenium test case, then I have to call a method called setup in this class over here. Setup URL with the browser string. Fine, but I can only call it with the help of JUnit or TestNG annotation. In public static void main, it cannot be called because main is a static function and setup is a non-static function. If you refer to the module 2 of the training, then static cannot call non-static. So I have to make a method called public void test Google and give it the annotation method test and include the JUnit library into this project. Okay, so just import this, right? And after importing this, you can call the setup function from the parent class Selenium test case. That is, you first provide the name of the website and the browser string, that is, I want to open it on Firefox, then star Firefox, right? In some systems this will not work. You will have to give the path of the Firefox after this, that is C colon somewhere in the end firefox.exe. you'll have to give the path, but in my system it should work like this, right? And after that you again give the command selenium.open. You don't have to give the command selenium.start out here the way we did when we were using default Selenium, right? So if I write selenium.open slash now and I run the code, that is Google test 2, I right click on it and run it as a JUnit test, then a new browser will and it will navigate me to google.com. okay, so run it and you see that the browsers are opening. This is the browser opening which is navigated to google.com. So I have successfully implemented Selenium RC in two ways, that is by calling the setup method of Selenium test case, by calling the default Selenium class object, right? By creating the default Selenium class object. Which one is the preferred one? The first one is the preferred one because in Java one class can extend only the one class. So if you are extending Selenium test case, you won't be able to extend some other class, right? So these are the two ways in which you can use Selenium RC. Okay, the architecture of Selenium RC can be easily understood with the help of the documentation out here. The default Selenium class has got all the possible functions which can be used with Selenium. Okay, you can try out these functions, and in the Selenium training we will be covering each and every of these functions in detail. If you go over to the Selenium RC tab on the top, in the training or in the video tutorials of Selenium RC, okay, you will be covering all these topics like how to handle pop-ups, tabs, how to build a data-driven framework, introduction to Selenium RC, then features of Selenium RC, how to use web tables, right? So there are n number of topics, user extensions, regular expressions as well, everything will be covered. Fine. So thank you.